So you were thinking about moving to Richmond, BC? Don't do it, absolutely not. All right, I'm just kidding. Many people are moving to Richmond, BC. It has a rich history and a cultural heritage. It has a thriving and a diverse Asian community. In fact, CNN Travel is quoted as calling it the most Chinese city on the continent. All right, it has beautiful natural surroundings. It's home to YVR, the Vancouver International Airport, home to the Olympic Oval from the 2010 Olympics here, and it's just a single bridge away from Vancouver to be able to take advantage of everything that the big city has to offer that Richmond may not offer on its own. With all that said, Richmond is not for everyone. My wife was born and raised here in Richmond, and I've lived here for 4 years as well as the surrounding area, and we can tell you that there's definitely a few good reasons why you'd absolutely want to move here. But at the same time, there's also a few reasons why you may not want to move here. And that's exactly what this video is all about. I want to give you exactly what you need to know when it comes to making a decision about moving in and living here in Richmond, BC. And so I'm going to talk about the top 7 cons. Thank you, someone just honked for that video. Top 7 pros and the top 7 cons. And you're definitely going to want to stick around for con number 5, as it is a huge stereotype in the Lower Mainland that many people have had and hold. And I also combat that because it's a total myth. And number 6, which is also something about not necessarily about the specific city of Richmond itself, but something about an area close to it that could actually save you some potential money as well. If this is your first time coming to this channel and you want to learn everything about what Richmond, BC, Vancouver, BC, and the surrounding cities have to offer you, then make sure to go down below this video and click that subscribe button. And right after that, click the bell and you'll get notified and be the first to know about current updates in the real estate market here, as well as everything that you need to know when it comes to eating, sleeping, living, working, and playing here in the Richmond and the Greater Vancouver area. My name is Jonathan Lerner, and I'm a local real estate agent here with the Vancouver Life Real Estate Group, and we are helping people just like you to help make the move to the Greater Vancouver area. And today we're talking about Richmond, BC, located just a bridge away south of Vancouver, and why it may be a possible fit for you to live here in Richmond, and why it may not be a possible fit for you to live here. We're starting things off with the top 7 pros of Richmond, BC. Pro number 1 for moving to and living in Richmond, BC is the food. There's no need to fly to Shanghai to get the best dumplings around when they are literally at your back door. Now, based off of the 2016 census data, CNN is actually quoted as calling Richmond North America's most Chinese city. So whether you want 20 different high-class versions of dumplings or you want the regional specialties from every corner of China, you will get it here. Don't want Chinese food? Not to worry. Dive into Thai, Japanese, Korean, Malaysian, Indonesia. Richmond has become a one-stop paradise of food lovers of Asian food. So let's just say you're not going to go hungry here. The other option is heading to Steveston Pizza in the southwest corner of Richmond and getting yourself an $850 pizza loaded with tiger prawns, lobster, ratatouille, Russian ossetra, caviar, and Italian white truffles. Or, I mean, you can just drop it down to a more affordable $160 12-inch pizza with lobster on it. Pro number 2 for living in Richmond, BC is the weather. Being on the West Coast, we're actually one of the warmest cities in the country when it comes to the colder months of the year. December is typically the coldest of the year, and we don't even reach freezing most of the time, with our average temperature that month being a low of 1 and a high of 5 degrees Celsius. And it's a big reason why so many people from the East Coast and Toronto and Ontario come here to be able to get away from the long winters and the hot, humid summers that they have. And the pro of being in Richmond versus the north end of Vancouver and the North Shore is very often when the city of Richmond, you'll look towards the North Shore of Vancouver and it will be raining or it'll be dark, overcast clouds over on that side. Whereas here in Richmond, it will be a light overcast or we'll actually have sun by comparison. Now you can see those mountains right over there behind me. Obviously it's a beautiful day here. We're just starting to come up into summer, but you can see a little bit of what I mean there is those clouds are more hanging out more on the North Shore versus over here in Richmond, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Pro number 3 for living in Richmond, BC is it has a great transit system. Right behind me is the SkyTrain station, the end of the line in Richmond at Brig House, which is located at Richmond City Centre. And from here to the last stop, downtown Vancouver, it takes 26 minutes. If you're to drive from here to downtown, it will take you about 25 to 35 minutes depending on traffic, and then you're gonna pay for parking on top of that. So being able to take advantage of the SkyTrain if you're heading into Vancouver for work or to be able to go out for the night, fantastic option and great transit route. The other aspect is that the buses here are really easy to be able to understand. We basically have our main routes as number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6 road in Richmond here. And the buses, the main buses that go down them are 401, 402, 403, 404. So it's really, really easy to be able to understand where these buses are heading and where it is and how to get around Richmond, as well as to get into Vancouver. So great transit system within Richmond is a pro of living in Richmond.
Pro number 4 for living in Richmond, BC is the amazing selection of schools, with many landing in the top 10% of the province. Let's take a look at the elementary schools first. 83% of elementary schools land in the top 50% of schools in BC, with 20% landing in the top 10% of BC, with the number 1 ranked elementary school in all of BC being here in Richmond, the private school Cornerstone Christian Academy. And the top public school in Richmond in all of BC came in at number 66 out of 927, which was Archibald Blair. Now, secondary schools. 64% of all secondary schools land in the top 50%, and 20% land in the top 10%, including the number 5 ranked secondary school in all of BC, which is a private school, which is Richmond Christian. And the top public school, Hugh McRoberts, came in at number 27. Now, for post-secondary education, we have the BC IT Aerospace Campus by YVR, and then there's also Kwantlen Polytechnic University, as well as the Richmond campus for Trinity Western, which is a private Christian liberal arts university. Then, if we go across the water, over the bridge to Vancouver, then there's Langara College, which is just a 12-minute SkyTrain ride away from Richmond Centre, and UBC, the University of British Columbia, is about an hour away by transit.
Reason number 5 to live in the Richmond, BC area is the great shopping scene. Now, there are 3 malls in the city for your retail and shopping needs, plus there's one addition to these that has a bit of a different flavor. The smallest of these 4 malls is right behind me, being Lansdowne Mall, which provides your big box retailers like your Best Buy, your Toys R Us, Winners, HomeSense, StrucTube, TNT, Supermarket, and also a variety of other Asian ethnic focused stores. It's definitely not the mall that you go to for your retail and shoe shopping needs. So if that's what you love and you love being able to shop like that, CF Richmond Centre is the place to be, as it houses over 200 mainstream shops, chains, and services. And Richmond Centre is also known as one of Lower Man's best shopping experiences as well. Next to that, you also have the MacArthur Glen Designer Outlet by the Vancouver Airport, which is a luxury outdoor style shopping outlet, and destination focuses really on designer brands. And then lastly, we have Aberdeen Mall, and that carries with it a significantly stronger Asian influence and really a bit of everything in its offering to appeal to a real diverse range of ages, backgrounds, and life stages as well, plus the huge Umomo discount store is there as well. So, in response to these 4 malls, if you want it, we got it. Pro number 6 for living in Richmond, BC is that the US border is very close by. And when the Canadian dollar is strong, shopping in the US can actually be a big money saver. Whether that is shopping on Amazon.com and having your packages shipped over to Point Roberts, which is just a 20-minute drive away, or if you want to go down to the Peace Arch border crossing, which is just 45 minutes away, and head down to Blaine, Bellingham, Tulalip, or Seattle, which is just a 3-hour drive away. Pro number 7 to living in Richmond, BC is how family friendly it is. This city is extremely family oriented, and there are numerous activities for you to do, whether your kids are infants, toddlers, or teenagers. If you're looking at the infant side of things and under 5 years old, there's great indoor activities from Fun Days 365, which is upwards to about 10 or 12 years old for the kids. Or you have Jello Land for under 5 years old. You have Kidtropolis for the younger ages as well, and that imaginative creative play. Then you also have everything from your wave pools at the recreation centers to your indoor mini golf and laser tag. And then you also have all these great recreational facilities like this one, the Minoru Center for Active Living, brand new, built in Richmond here and completed as of 2021, 2022, and one of the best facilities in all the greater Vancouver area as well. And so there's just so much to do, as well as the activities and the different areas throughout the city. And one more bonus pro for you, and it is about the best neighborhood in all of Metro Vancouver. And this area is found within Richmond, and it was voted by over 500,000 votes to be the best neighborhood in all of Metro Vancouver, and that is the area of Steveston in Richmond, BC. And right along the water, the southwest area of Richmond, and it's really maintained a very quaint charm about it, almost a small town feel, as if you walk in and it's almost as if you would know every person that you walk by. And it's also been the backdrop for numerous movies and TV shows here, and it's also surrounded by it is the boardwalk and the West Dyke Trail, which I'm standing along right now, right along the river. And it's just an amazing, amazing spot to be able to come in with your family, have some frozen yogurt, get some fish and chips, walk along the boardwalk, enjoy the views, and is really just it's an area so close to the city, but feels like you're so far away from the city as well. And that is a very big pro of living in Richmond, BC here in Steveston. You've heard the pros, and now I'm going to deliver the top 7 cons for living in Richmond, BC. And I'm going to kick it off with the biggest issue that people experience when trying to move to this city, and that is the high cost of living. For example, a 1-bedroom like this will cost you about $608,000. This 2-bed, 1,200 square foot townhome will cost you about $987,000, and a detached home with 3 beds like this one here will cost you about $1.7 million. Or go to this 5-bed detached home currently listed for just under $1.9 million. These prices can of course vary depending on which part of the city you are in, when it was built, square footage, the lot size, finishing, amenities, access to transit, and many other factors. So if you're looking for a simple 3-bedroom detached home that doesn't need a whole lot of work for under $1.5 million, basically it doesn't exist here. So you may not want to move here as a result. At the same time, while the cost of living in homes in Richmond is expensive, it's a con that's apparent throughout the entire Greater Vancouver and Lower Mainland area. And it's not solely just this city of Richmond. With all that said, the Greater Vancouver area is a worldwide destination that will continue to attract people here to live for generations. And since we really started tracking the data about 30 years ago, the housing market in the Greater Vancouver area has been steadily on the upward trend, appreciating. And as you can see in this graph, and with our current supply and demand limitations right now, high demand and low supply, it doesn't look to be changing anytime soon. So as a result, it looks like prices are going to continue going up here. If you're considering buying, even with the current not so desirable interest rates, now is still a great time to get into the market, but that all depends on your specific situation. Ask us, reach out, give us a call, send us a message, schedule a Zoom call, which is my personal favorite, so that we can get face to face, so that our team and I can get to know you, why you're looking, and what makes the most sense for you. You know, we get calls, texts, and emails every day from people looking to buy or sell or invest. And this is the first step that we take with anyone. And that may lead to the next steps of us moving forward together, or maybe just some advice that right now is not the best time for you based off your situation. Reach out and let's chat. Con number 2 for living in the city of Richmond is its traffic and congestion, but this is primarily around your rush hour times. Much of the city is quite good, but there are a few areas that you want to watch out for. And right where I am at Richmond City Centre right now. It's where the SkyTrain station is, it's where the main bus loop is, and right around number 3 Road and in Westminster is extremely congested, particularly around rush hour time. But you'll also find throughout much of the day that number 3 Road from Granville Street north is quite congested and quite slow to move if you're going north or south. All the way up to the north end of Richmond on number 3 is quite slow. Also, if you're going on Steveston Highway through the Ironwood area to get to the Massey Tunnel, that area gets extremely backed up, especially during the rush hour times. And the other area that has a tendency to get backed up as well is on Bridgeport near the Costco, where you're heading over to your off ramps to be able to get to the Arthur Lang Bridge. That area has a tendency to get quite congested as well. But outside of that, overall, the traffic and congestion in Richmond is quite minimal. And even in those areas that I talked about, it's not so bad, especially when you compare it to other areas around the country and other metropolitan cities as well. Con number 3 for living in Richmond, BC is the crime. In 2018, Maclean's made a report ranking Canadian cities on crime, and out of 229, Richmond landed in at number 85. Vancouver, Surrey, and Langley all came out ranking higher, so from a crime perspective, Richmond is actually lower on the list. Con number 4 of living in Richmond, BC is the floodplain. Now, Richmond is not designated as a flood risk, although it is technically located on a floodplain. What is that? Well, simply put, it's a generally flat area of land next to a river or stream that has the potential to experience flooding. And the last time that Richmond saw any significant flooding was actually back in 1948. Even with the atmospheric river that we experienced in 2021, just a couple years ago, very few homes experienced any sort of flooding. And the reason for that is that Richmond's actually constructed one of the most comprehensive diking systems in all of BC to protect us from any big events like that happening. And on top of that, all new real estate developments, whether residential or commercial, are required to have all their projects created and planned with long-term flooding prevention and management in mind with that. And behind me actually is the farmland near kind of more the south of Richmond area, and East Richmond also has it as well. These are more the areas where the atmospheric river that we experience created any sort of flooding. But in terms of the actual suburbs of where the majority of homes are, there was virtually none of that. Con number 5 for living in Richmond, BC is bad drivers. Now, unfortunately, this is a very common stereotype of the city of Richmond. However, having said that, and when looking at the stats and the numbers of accidents across the entire lower mainland, Richmond actually doesn't top the list. And while Richmond's numbers are slightly higher than the averages of the lower mainland, they are actually lower than the city of Vancouver and are about comparable to Burnaby. Either way, it's something that you should always be aware of and mindful of, as you always should be while driving in a city that you live in, and even more so in a densely populated metropolitan area like where we are. Con number 6 for living in Richmond, BC is the customer service and ambiance is lacking in many areas. There's a lot of restaurants and establishments that you may find yourself in on a regular basis solely for the food itself or the product or service that you're getting, and is not as much at all for the customer service or the ambiance of the space. There's a few establishments that my family and I frequent where the food is absolutely fantastic or the massages are great, but the ambiance of the space is in no way rejuvenating or relaxing. So whether it's a lack of decor or boxes piled up in the corner, communication or customer service sometimes can be less than stellar. So you don't find out until you go into a place, and sometimes the food or the service is well worth it, and you go again knowing where to have high expectations and where to maybe lower them in the future. Con number 7 for living in Richmond, BC is actually the food. And yes, it is a con as well, but it's not what you think. I absolutely love Asian food, and if you want Asian food, this is definitely the city to be. Yet at the same time, the variety of options for other food types is fairly lacking in my opinion. I mean, for my wife and I, if we have plans to go on a date and we have a babysitter rather than family helping so we don't have to worry about being home by 8 p.m., we typically want to expand our palates a little bit more and get something that's not Asian food. And unfortunately, the variety of options for that is significantly less than in Vancouver, so we typically will try and make a trip out that way. Now, is there a little bit of everything in Richmond? Yes, absolutely, but the other options are fewer and not always up to par. And this goes in line with the nightlife scene here as well. It is very much catered to Asians, which of course, why wouldn't it be? It's the most Chinese city on the continent. But the nice thing is, depending on where you are in Richmond, you're only 25 to 35 minutes away from downtown Vancouver, so it's not far to travel at all. We are not done yet. And before I finish off this video with a few more points, I would love to hear from you. Have you spent some time here in Richmond? Or if you've lived in Richmond for years, what do you love about it? What are some of the things that I missed which people should be aware of about the city? Please go down below this video and leave a comment and let us know what you both love and what you both see as a con about the city of Richmond. Okay, let's finish this video off with a very important point. If Richmond is on your place as a potential place to live. So if after weighing out the pros and the cons, you are interested in moving to and living in Richmond, BC, then reach out to me at my contact info down below in the description, or you can schedule a 30-minute Zoom call with me and I can help you to connect you with the right people and where you should be looking, whether you're looking at living and buying here or whether you're looking at renting. If you thought about buying real estate in Richmond, let's just say the market and the economy looks to be poised for continued upward growth. We're continuing to experience a low supply situation and high demand, which is keeping prices high. And it's also contributing due to our record high rental rates that we've been seeing over the last 8 to 10 months now. And add on that, we have record levels of immigration coming into Canada. We just broke records in the first quarter, and it looks like we're gonna do that for Q2 as well. And if you've ever thought about coming here, we are in a state where it looks like the appreciation is just going to continue. If you buy now, you're gonna take part in that appreciation. And if you wait, you're probably gonna end up paying for that appreciation down the road. Everyone has a different situation. So before you make any rash decisions, give us a call, send us an email, send us a text, or schedule that Zoom call, and we can talk about what's going on with your family and your current situation, because that's gonna make a difference for everybody. We can help you find a deal in any market. We help our clients buy and sell homes every single day in every type of market. And we help them do that with whatever their needs are. Our job and our purpose is to help find the best deal possible in the current market on the property that best suits the needs that you have and that you want. And so whether you're thinking about making that move in the next 9 days or 90 days or heck, even 2 years from now, reach out. Let's find out what makes the most sense for you based off of your situation and your needs. And if you need help figuring out which of the best neighborhoods in the area would be ideal for you, make sure to subscribe to this channel down below and check out my other videos, or reach out to me and we can chat and find out what your lifestyle's like and what your work life, your home life is like, so we can narrow it down and know the exact areas that would best fit you and your lifestyle. If you get some video from this video, please make sure to like, to subscribe, and click that bell, and so you get notified as soon as new videos come out. You can stay up to date on the current real estate market, and you can be the first to know about these happenings, as well as changes and things like that that are going on in the surrounding areas and new projects coming to market. Also, please share this video with someone that you know that has been thinking about moving to the greater Vancouver area or Richmond, or who already lives here and is contemplating a move and has Richmond as a possibility on their list, or they need to add Richmond as a possibility on their list. Your support in commenting down below and sharing this video absolutely helps improve the algorithm so that we can get this video out in front of as many people as possible who need to learn more about the city. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.